To welcome everybody, officially declare the meeting open at 9 a.m. Could I remind everybody that council's ordinary meetings are open to the public and are also recorded and available for viewing after the meeting to provide access to all community members. Attendees in the gallery can be recorded. Got the sticky tongue already. I wish to acknowledge the traditional custodians on the land on which we stand, the Gulnay people, and acknowledge my respect for their current and emerging leaders and those in the dreaming, and thank them for the contributions that they have made to our community. I would like to welcome Pastor Rob McGarry from the Tully Family Church to conduct the opening prayer. Good morning.
Morning.
Thanks for coming.
Joy to the world, the Lord has come. Merry Christmas, everybody. Society celebrates Christmas with family, a break from work, holidays, presents, festivities, and Christmas and New Year. Of course, businesses take advantage of all that by trying to sell us all this goods and everything else. But a long time ago in Bethlehem, so the Holy Bible says, Mary's boy child Jesus was born on Christmas Day. That might bring a song to mind.
But you'd be singing it.
That's right. He came to restore those who would receive him, to restore dignity, integrity, respect, kindness, purpose, forgiveness, and their relationships, not by judging them or placing on them strict codes of behaviour, but by transforming them from the inside out. And when you read the Gospels, you see how Jesus never condemned people, but he brought conviction to them so that they knew that they needed to change their heart attitudes. He made them alive, changing their heart so they wanted to be that sort of person. They wanted to be good, did no longer wanted to do the wrong things. And it was transforming them from the inside out. That's what the message, I guess, we celebrate at Christmas is joy to the world. He came to bring joy. He came to bring us purpose, came to bring us dignity, came to change our hearts so that we actually want to do the right things. How much we need that nowadays. It's no wonder that there is that feeling about Christmas. There's joy to the world that Jesus came. And I think that's something that we probably sense, but we don't often stop and think about, that, you know, God's purpose for us is always good. It's always to bring joy. It's always to bring us to a better place. How much we need that as a community. And we see so many people doing the wrong thing because they want to, but, you know, when we receive Jesus as King, then people want to do the right thing, which is a much better place to live, isn't it, than having crime and all the other stuff around. So I want to say joy to the world. Have a great Christmas. Let's receive our King who came to do a wonderful work in our life. Can we pray? Lord, we just thank you that you sent Jesus into the world to transform our lives, to transform our communities. And Lord, we thank you that when we do receive him, that does change our society, actually becomes a much better place of respect and dignity, kindness, grace and truth that will actually set us free. So Lord, just thank you for this council. Thank you for the work they do. Thank you for the timeless hours they spend serving the community. And Lord, I pray you really bless them this Christmas, and may they remember that Jesus came for them as well. I pray you really bless them in their break, in their holiday, that Father, they'd find you as well. We just thank you for your presence here now, and thank you for the good times we've had this year as we've shared together in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
So, Rob, and Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Oh, Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Move on to apologies. Are there any apologies? No apologies? We now will move on to 1 minute silence, passing of Senior Sergeant Peter Williamson. I'd like to acknowledge the passing of our Senior Sergeant Peter Williamson, and on behalf of Council, extend our heartfelt condolences to his family, friends and colleagues during this difficult time. I will now pass over to Councillor Pervin, who has a few words before we do the silence.
Thank you, Chair. Just a bit of information about Peter Williamson. Senior Sergeant Peter Williamson commenced his distinguished career with the Queensland Police Service on the 27th of October, 1986. Over the course of his remarkable 38 years, he served numerous communities across Queensland. Peter's first posting after graduating was to Innisfail in 1986, where he served for 12 months. He then spent the next 12 years serving across Queensland, including the Information Bureau, Cairns, Yarrabah, Normanton and Cooktown. In 2000, Peter returned to the Cassowary Coast, where he took up the position of Officer in Charge of Mission Beach Station. Peter then spent the next 25 years serving the Cassowary Coast community. Peter more than served in our community. He made this his home, where he had his wife Charisse, raised their 2 children and ingrained themselves into the fabric of our community. In 2008, Peter was promoted to Senior Sergeant Officer in Charge, Innisfail Police Station, where he served for the remainder of his career until he reached compulsory age retirement on his 60th birthday on the 6th of August 2025. Peter's work over his quarter of a century service to the Cassowary Coast touched countless lives. He was there for the best of our times, and he was there to lead our community through our toughest times. His commitment to the Cassowary Coast was unwavering, and he was the person we turned to when things got hard. Such events as leading the Queensland Police response to Cyclones Larry and Yazi, numerous flooding events, and responding to far too many fatal crashes and other serious crime investigations, all with the mission of making the Cassowary Coast as safe as possible. Peter's leadership during disaster events cemented his reputation as an expert in disaster management and an enduring commitment to building community resilience. Beyond his operational achievements, Senior Sergeant Williamson played a pivotal role in shaping the future of policing in the region. He mentored countless first-year constables as they embarked on their careers and guided many through promotions and life-changing career transitions. His dedication to his team, his family, and his community will leave a lasting legacy. Senior Sergeant Peter Williamson will be remembered for his unwavering commitment, compassionate leadership, and deep devotion to communities he served, and his loss will be felt across the entire region. Our thoughts are with Peter's wife, Charisse, son, Jake, and daughter, Faith, at this time.
Please stand for a minute silence. Thank you. Read out the declaration. Declaration of prescribed conflicts of interest or declarable conflicts of interest. I now invite those present to use this opportunity to make public any prescribed conflicts of interest or declarable conflicts of interest in respect of the items in the agenda. Councillors should use this opportunity to disclose and or comment on other councillors and or staff interests in accordance with the Act and regulations. Do we have any conflicts to declare? No. Okay, we will move on to confirmation of the minutes from the last local government meeting held 27th of November 2025 as a true and correct record.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Bain, seconded by Councillor Chewy. Those in favour? Thank you. Carried. Is there any business arising from those minutes? Okay, we should move on. I now call for a mover and a seconder to confirm the receipt of the minutes of the Audit Committee meeting held 26th of November 2025. Councillor Jessup moved. Councillor Pervin second. You,
We'll vote.
all in favour? Thanks, sorry, Jeff,
You're fine.
the gun I am.
No.
End of year items.
Move on to major projects, the RFA. And what we got presenting this, Mr. Goodman? Think, how are you?
Morning.
Morning, Mayor. Morning, councillors.
Mr. Goodman?
Thank you. Councillors, this report provides you and the community with a status update on disaster relief funding arrangements associated with Tropical Cyclone Jasper. Tropical Cyclone Jasper crossed the Queensland coast as a Category 2 system on 13 December 2023. It was associated with the extraordinary flooding event that caused large-scale isolation, widespread power outages across North Queensland, and significant impacts to agriculture, animal welfare, small business, tourism, and individual households. The event also caused widespread significant damage to council infrastructure within the region, and this report outlines the progress made to date of the restoration program under disaster recovery funding arrangements. Council was activated for this event to address the immediate and long-term impacts. The RFA is a cost-sharing arrangement between the Commonwealth and the states and territories. In Queensland, this program is managed on a whole-of-government basis by the Queensland Reconstruction Authority, or the QRA. Council engaged experienced consultants with the required resources to assist. Multiple proposals were received to lead the damage assessment effort of the essential public assets through the Cassowary Coast region. Shepherd Services were subsequently engaged in December 2023. To say that's with the event only happening in December, and then that engagement that has done quickly, that has been a large influence on the success of this delivery of this program. Category B funding includes assistance to local governments for the restoration of essential public assets. In many cases, rectification works can't be delayed. These costs for these urgent works are captured as either emergent works or immediate reconstruction works. The balance is managed via REPA submissions to construct the assets to pre-disaster function. There are also betterment and Category C and D extraordinary funding programs and opportunities. In accordance with the requirements, CCRC Council has submitted a number of funding applications to restore the damaged infrastructure, and Council was successful in securing substantial funding. I might just touch on some of the headline numbers before I get into some more detail. So there have been nearly 3,000 damaged sites rectified to date. There's around 450 kilometres of formation grading undertaken across the region. 300,000 tonnes of materials placed and incorporated to deliver those works on our unsealed road network. There's been 6,000 metres squared of sealed road network being repaired and returned to pre-damage standard. To cover off on the detail of the various funding streams, in counter disaster operations, the final costs were $153,000, and that has now been acquitted by the QRA. The emergent works period, which is in a couple of months immediately after the event, Council incurred costs of $1.26 million. That has also been acquitted by the QRA. Immediate reconstruction works, $212,000. That's been acquitted by the QRA. In the Reaper Works, restoration of essential public assets, this is category B. Council has approved funding for around $48 million. Expenditure to date is $26.89 million. QRA have approved all submissions. We have yet to see any of those submissions acquitted. We need to finish 100% of those packages before we can submit for acquittal. Construction is forecast to reach practical completion for roadworks this month. And I've provided those key figures, this sort of key numbers from those. There are around 20% of the landslip remediation works undertaken. We are targeting the required deadline for June 2026 for the completion of all those landslip remediation works. There is, while there's a deadline of June 2026, there is and we are, we have a reasonable expectation of achieving works by June 2026. If there are significant events which impact on our ability to deliver, QRA have in the past been very understanding of that and have provided extensions of time. So we're not banking on, planning on asking for extensions of time, but it would be reasonable to expect, based on previous history, that if there were extenuating circumstances, those would be approved. Within one category of category D funding, the LRRG, we have approved funding of $994,000. The current expenditure on that is $628,000. There's 8 individual projects. Only one of those has been 100% completed, but we have expectation of finishing those works in March 2026. There's another category D funding, which was for cleanup. We had approved funding of $136,000. We've expenditures $118,000. An example of the works in that category was the Dunk Island walking track. That work's been completed. And again, for that category of works, we are expecting works to be completed in March 2026. There's another stream of funding, which is betterment. Council has grant funds of $2.398 million for this. This is for projects which have been to council before. Council's provided priorities on the sealing of unsealed roads. That requires complementary funding from council of $1.44 million. The designs are complete for those works. We are working through a procurement program for that. We are targeting completion in October this year, and across the state, the QRA has already extended the timeline for the delivery of that program until June 2027, and that is on the basis of significant delays by the QRA in announcing that funding. Council officers continue to work with the QRA consultants, contractors, suppliers and the community to ensure successful delivery of the works. Within the financial and resources implications of the report, Council, I think it's worthwhile pointing out a couple of things. We say in the report that approximately 50% of the event costs have spent locally in the Cassowary Coast region. To clarify that is 50% of the value of the contracts that have been awarded to contractors who are based in the Cassowary Coast region. For those contractors that are outside of the region, we know that there are very significant engagement with local contractors. Either that might be quarry supply, local local trucks, local smaller contractors that are working as subcontractors. So that the actual number is significantly higher than 50% of the spend, but the 50% is the value of that's been awarded to contractors. And even if we extend that to Far North Queensland principal contractors, the number is 80% of direct engagement. And the other that is worth noting is that the excellent way in which the QRA assists council in managing cash flow on a significant project like this. You can see that for the majority of the time since Tropical Cyclone Jasper, council has been cash flow positive in responding to this disaster event. So we'll go through a period now where there'll be some time where we'll be cash flow negative until we can start getting those acquittals. QRA will pay up to 90%, and then they won't pay more than that until the acquittals to get that final 10%. So as those acquittals start to roll in, we will be covering our costs. It's also important, while it's nowhere near the level, important to note, nowhere near the level that the state and the federal government contribute to this. CCR is required to provide a contribution to the a direct financial contribution to the funding of these DRFA programs, and the trigger point for council in the Jasper event is $267,000. Councillors, the recommendation is that council acknowledges the results achieved to date and thank the state and federal government for the significant funding provided to these projects.
Councillor Littlemore.
Chair, I'd like to move the recommended resolution. Also, could I ask a question of our engineer, please?
Yeah, sure.
Mr. Goodman, do you said up to 90%, and after that, until the acquittal comes in, so in $45 million, we should never be out of pocket more than $4.5 million. In fact, most likely quite a bit less than that.
Yeah, that's correct. Through the chair, and because that would be the worst case scenario, that we had all of those acquittals outstanding, but we have already had some acquittals approved, so we've gone past that, and then we have split this up into a number of different packages. So not all of the road restoration sits in as one single acquittal. There's I think 7. It's in that order, a number of different packages. So they will.
So as they're finished, we can acquit.
Yeah, as they are 100% finished, we can acquit those. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair.
I've got a comment. It's not really a question, but you know, we know the DRFA funding is extremely important in our recovery efforts, and we thank the government for the allocation, but it would be nice if they could review the delivery of the funds and the timeliness, given that we have to rely on that a lot of the time to actually action the repairs. So anyway, I just wanted to make that point for people that were watching. And the other, I did have one question. What about the landslip at South Mission Beach?
Yes.
Yeah, it's through the chair. It is included in this works. It is within that program of works that I spoke about, where we, for all of that works, we are expecting to be complete by June. There has been some delays in getting the contractor on site with some prolonged negotiations with the preferred contractor, but those have been resolved. I will say also part of those prolonged negotiations are in dealing with services that are in there, power, those sorts of things which are outside of the contractor's control. So the plan for that contractor at the moment is that they would be establishing in January, and everybody's going to be reacting and planning around other events that may or may not happen in January. But
the reason I asked was because it was really it's things that are out of our control that have delayed it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but anyway, we are aware of it and we'll get to it when that's there.
Plan is to start in January, and if there's an
Yeah.
event forecast or is happening, that might be delayed.
Thank you. Councillor Jessup.
Yes, it's more of a comment, really. I think it's a really broad effort from the council and all of your staff. This was a big effort, and
Yeah.
to procure the right people to do the jobs, and even in breaking up the package seems to be a good outcome, especially through the little process.
Yeah.
And I think hats off to you guys. You've done a great job. And the work, everyone can see the work is getting done, be it slow, but lately the weather's been good and things have been really looking up. And I think later on, we're going to have a bit of a look at what exactly has been done around the area. So congratulations, job well done.
We've got a mover. Do we have a seconder?
Happy to say.
The names? Those in favour? Carried. Thank you very much.
Excellent report. Thank you, Mr. Goodman.
You. We shall move.
News story.
Cassowary Coast Regional Council Action Plan, and Miss Sabello will present. I would also like to welcome one of the members from the Youth Committee, Gabby.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Morning.
Good morning, councillors. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
I'm here today to present the Cassowary Coast Regional Council Youth Action Plan 2026 to 2029. Just a bit of background. In April 2022, Council asked our community to join the conversation and share feedback on what is most important to residents and where Council should focus its attention throughout the Cassowary Coast community. Youth services was one of the 6 goals the community identified as priorities. The endorsement of a youth advisory committee and guiding terms of reference to provide a platform for youth throughout the Cassowary Coast to communicate with Council on current and emergent themes impacting youth in the region. The process for expressions of interest commenced to invite applications for membership. This initiative aimed to ensure that the membership selection reflected the diverse geographical representation of young people residing across the Cassowary Coast. A comprehensive community youth survey was developed and successfully conducted, gathering valuable insights from 170 young people. The survey provided an opportunity for young individuals to share their perspectives, priorities, and concerns. Analysis of the responses revealed the top 5 issues that are currently most important to the youth in the region. Family, being healthy, mental health, employment, and relationships. The findings in the survey have been instrumental in shaping the direction for a youth focused action plan. Based on the feedback provided, 4 focus areas have been identified, with each focus area accompanied by a specific goal designed to drive meaningful change and improve outcomes for our youth over the next 3 years. The implementation of these goals will aim to create a supportive, inclusive, and empowering environment where our young people can thrive and achieve their full potential. The action plan also aligns with Council's integrated corporate and operational plan requirements and aims to deliver meaningful outcomes as advised earlier. So over the next 3 years, the action plan focus areas are community and culture, cost of living, environmental, wellbeing, and leisure. Attached to the report is the action plan, and the recommendation is that Council adopt the Cassowary Coast Regional Council Youth Action Plan 2026 to 2029.
Thank you. Councillor Chewy.
Thank you. Happy to move, but just well done to you, Ms. Sabello, for working so hard on this project since its inception, and our guest. Thank you for being part of it. It's wonderful to see this taking off, and I would just hope that we can keep the momentum going. And it's important that we keep our membership up and try and increase our numbers. Could you just remind everybody what the age
15 to 24.
So yeah, so to have some younger people on board would be fantastic as well. I'm just so impressed by their needs and wants. It was a very mature list. There wasn't anything about bike tracks and
Swings and
things,
lakes.
yeah, things like that. It was very mature. Acknowledging too that one of the important things was study, and our VPG has taken off successfully as well. So that was very important for our youth. They don't have to travel far, and not just our youth, but anybody that wishes to use it. There's a university hub right there. So hopefully that our numbers will increase. And as you said, geographically from Cardwell through to Innisfail. And thank goodness that we've got technology that if people cannot attend a meeting in person, they can always Teams in. Also, thank you to the YAC, because I know they have turned up and volunteered at various events throughout the Cassowary Coast as well. So we are grateful. We know volunteering is something that we treasure and welcome more of. So thank you to the team. If you'd pass that on to everybody as well. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Sabella. Thank you, Gabby.
I also wanted to pay thanks to you, Gabby, and the team at the YAC for your input into this new plan. And I encourage you to continue, because, you know, this is how you get to have your say in the community. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any further comments? We've got a mover. Do we have a seconder? Councillor McLeod. Those in favour? Carried. Thank you very much. Have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
No brainer.
Thank you
Thank
for coming along.
Done.
I wish I could clap.
Let's move on to Mission Beach
Thank you.
and Cardwell Medical Centres, and Ms Clifford will present. Morning. Morning.
Morning, Miss Clifford.
Councillors. Thank you for receiving this report today, which is the North Queensland Primary Health Network's Thin Markets Program for the Cassowary Coast, Mission Beach and Cardwell annual report. Some background: at the local government meeting on the 28th of September 2023, Council considered findings from the 2022 Community Scorecard, which identified access to primary healthcare as the community's second highest priority. This need was especially pronounced in Mission Beach. Mission Beach had been without a local doctor since December 21, forcing residents to travel to Innisfail, Tully and sometimes Cairns or Townsville for primary health services. At the same time, practices in Innisfail and Tully were operating at capacity with extended wait lists. Despite the clear demand, providers were reluctant to establish a new practice in Mission Beach due to financial risks and workforce recruitment challenges. In response, Council resolved to temporarily take on financial risk by leasing the former TriStar Medical Group premises in Mission Beach. And this early leadership from Council has proved to be absolutely essential for the success that the report from the new NQPHN provides. It notes that the Thin Markets program has delivered major improvements in the availability, quality and sustainability of primary healthcare in Mission Beach as well as Cardwell. Under the program, Mission Medical reopened in November 2024 as the first Thin Markets clinic in Australia. Cardwell Medical Practice achieved long-term stability on 1 July 2025 through its transition from interim Townsville Health and Hospital Service Management to a privately operated model with consistent GP coverage. The report notes that the program has restored confidence in local GP services, reduced the need for residents to travel significant distances for routine and urgent care, and positioned both communities for stronger long-term health outcomes. NQPHN acknowledges the leadership and support of the Cassowary Coast Regional Council, whose early work and continued partnership have been absolutely instrumental in enabling a successful recovery of primary healthcare services across the region. Despite the substantial success, the program does highlight some ongoing thin market challenges, including a limited GP workforce, gaps in allied health coverage, and infrastructure constraints as demand grows. NQPHN's report satisfies the requirement for a 12-month update to Council under the 25-26 operational plan and integrated corporate plan. It presents a comprehensive account of progress, outcomes and ongoing challenges across both medical centres over the past year. It is recommended that Council receive and note the North Queensland Primary Health Network's Thin Markets Program for the Cassowary Coast, Mission Beach and Cardwell Annual Report. Thank you.
Councillor Chewy.
Sorry. Yeah, thank you. I'm happy to move as well, but I just would like to acknowledge, with Mission Beach is very, very grateful that this has all happened. So thank you to the Cassowary Coast Regional Council for being brave and taking that step, and also acknowledging that we did have a very strong and solid practice that we were able to liaise with that had a very good reputation that made that facilitation so much easier. So I just would like to acknowledge that as well. So thank you.
I would like to acknowledge the work of the team, North Queensland Tropical Public Health and Dr. Kim Fabian to get the first Thin Markets funding allocation in Australia. Not only did we get the first allocation, but we were also lucky enough to get the second allocation to fund Cardwell. Both practices are tracking well, and this is one of the projects that this council took the initiative to step outside the box and take a risk that has paid off for this community. So I want to thank my fellow councillors for the decision on this project. Well done.
We should clap again.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. I'm very happy to second the resolution, but also adding the comments that, especially a report like this, I mean, it's wonderful. Cassowary Coast Regional Council punching above its weight again. It's an astounding piece of work. But one thing that I will say, and Ms Clifford has already spoken to it, that this report is also, aside from the success we're having, it is also pointing out other gaps that we need to now target. And it's good that NQPHN, that was a new one for me, so now we'll be aware and we can start working in those spaces together, because this is not an issue that is restricted to the Cassowary Coast. It's restricted to regional areas right across our country. So great work to all the team. Well done. And it's really interesting to read a report like this.
It's a brand new model too.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So Jessup.
I'd just like to again reiterate what I said with our engineering department. Like, our departments here are punching above their weight, like Councillor Jeff was just saying. And it astounds me that we have so much social media that just mocks the council, but they're doing a wonderful job. They're getting things done. I mean, we're aiming high and we're getting the job done. So it's so good to see. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you for the work that you do.
Yeah.
It's wonderful, wonderful.
Well done.
Thank you. So those in favour? Carried. Thank you very much.
Just on that, Mayor, it just goes to show, but as a council, we've gone to the scorecard, we've listened to what the scorecards had to say, and we have pushed for this as a council. And without the community's voice, we wouldn't be in the situation we are today. Okay? So, yeah, well done to the fellow councillors and well done to the community for pushing us to make these decisions.
Pointing out efforts.
So whilst there is negative connotations, sometimes that they come to positive solution at the end. So it's all about communication at the end of the day. So we need to keep those lines open and continue.
Yeah.
Okay. We now move on to 5.3, and Ms Clifford will also present this.
Other good news story.
University Centre.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillors. Today I'm presenting the Cassowary Coast University Centre May to October Service Highlights Report from the Vocational Partnerships Group, or VPG. It's a non-profit organisation that has been supporting children and young people in far north Queensland for over 25 years. The report outlines the significant achievements of the centre during its first full year of operation. The report confirms the centre is successfully delivering on the region's long-standing need for accessible tertiary education, with measurable benefits across student participation, community engagement and workforce development. 125 students registered with the University Centre, representing a diverse and regionally relevant cohort. Notably, a substantial proportion of students are studying in fields aligned with critical local workforce demands, including health, education, society and culture, and business. This directly supports the Council's strategic priorities to grow our own workforce capability and strengthen pathways into local employment. And some of the statistics that the report has provided are quite impressive and demonstrating the life-changing impact it's having for locals and students. 50% of students are the first in their family to attend university. 80% of students are female. 40% of students are parents. 11% of students have disability, and a growing number of First Nations students are completing degrees while staying connected to country. Early student success stories include graduates now working in local schools, health services, and in professional roles. The report also recognises the vital role of Council's early advocacy and leadership, and including the insights gathered through the Youth Advisory Committee, which identified local study facility as a priority for young people in the region. The early direction from Council provided the foundation for our successful application under the Federal Government's Regional University Studies Hub program and the partnership with VPG. With continued Council leadership, the Centre is very well placed to expand university engagement, strengthen local pathways into employment, and contribute to a more skilled, resilient and prosperous Cassowary Coast. It is recommended that Council receive and note the Cassowary Coast University Centre May to October Service Highlights report from VPG.
Thank you. So this already shows that the study hub has already far exceeded its expectations, which shows having a tertiary education centre available here for locals is more than just positive, and we can take the opportunities to. A lot of people have been able to take the opportunity to now study where they may not have done this before. The hub's got not only the study area, but they provide support as well to those students that are going there. So again, thanks to the Vocational Partnerships Group and the government for do this. Yeah. So Jessup.
Yes, we just heard from the Youth Advisory Committee who were heavily involved in this as well, correct?
That's right. Yes.
Great to see, great initiatives all around. I think this is a really nice read for people as well, if they have a look and just listen to the career change that people just upskilling. I just think a wonderful story, and it's like a Christmas present for us all, I think. So well done, everybody.
I clap again for that one.
Yeah. Free applaud day.
Yeah. You meeting that?
I shall move.
Any other comments?
Give me a second, Chair.
Yeah.
I'll then second.
Thank you, councillor. That's what I was looking for. All in favour? Carried, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, councillors.
Well done.
And move on to the financial performance report, and Mr. Smith will present. Good morning.
Councillors, thank you. Yes, so I've got the financial performance report. So council adopted the 25-26 budget on the 25th of June 2025 and approved amendments as per the first quarter budget review on the 27th of November 2025. The purpose of this report is to promote sound financial management and accountability by presenting council's financial performance for the year to date versus budget expectations as at the 30th of November 2025. Some of the financial performance highlights include operational revenue year to date is at $57.6 million, which is less than budget by $537,000. Operational expenditure year to date is $53.6 million, which is less than budget by $285,000. This has resulted in operational profit year to date of $4 million, lower than budget expectations by $253,000. Capital expenditure, including commitments, represents 48% of the revised $95.1 million capital budget. And at the end of November, the cash balance was $65 million, which includes $35 million of fixed term investments. I'll just run through some of the items in the detail of the report. Revenue wise, there is not a lot of change to some of the commentary as per previous months. We'll just highlight the operating grants and contributions under budget by $1.1 million. This is mostly due to timing of works in relation to Tropical Cyclone Jasper REPA submissions, and there was a corresponding offset in materials and services expenditure. So offsetting that. Expenditure-wise, employee expenses are at exceed budget by 589,000 or 4%, still well within the 10% attrition rate that was adopted in the budget. The other in the table, the other line is over budget by $220,000. It relates mainly to termination benefits and paid parental leave that wasn't budgeted. Materials and services I mentioned, that is under budget by $1.2 million. That's offsetting the grants mainly. Depreciation is a new item. It is over budget by $315,000, and this is largely attributable to the capitalisation of the new Port Hinchinbrook sewage treatment plant. The budget had expected that that asset would have been capitalised by the end during the 24-25 year. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. So with the commissioning date of March 2025, there is some depreciation that is in the 25-26 year that wasn't budgeted. On capital grant revenue, there are a couple of projects there that are under budget. Works for Queensland, Mission Beach CBD, and the capital portion of the Jasper REPA submissions, mostly due to timing. And then on the expenditure side for capital, we have spent, including commitments, $44.3 million of the $91.5 million budget. That represents 48% of the budget, with 41% of the year elapsed. The normal tables of borrowings and investment performances are in the report, and risk and opportunities are also noted in the report as well. And the recommendation is that Council receive and note the 25-26 financial performance report for November 2025.
Thank you very much. Any comments to be made? Andy, got any comments?
Andy.
I have one. Given the housing shortage across the country, I'd have to say that it's a good thing to see our building and development applications on the rise, meaning that we're going to have more people come and live here, and hopefully some people that come and visit here and in some of those new motels or units that we're building around the place. So that's a good thing. So yeah, it's just more of a comment, but
Happy to move, Chair.
Councillor Jessop's moved
That's
it.
done. Happy to second.
you moved it. Councillor Jessup moved and Councillor Baines has second. Those in favour? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you,
Adoption of the
Mr.
proposed amendment to the local laws, and Miss Lampard presenting.
Morning, Madam Mayor, morning,
Good morning,
councillors.
how are you?
Thank you.
Morning, Ms. Lambert.
I'm bringing you a report today on the adoption of proposed amending local law number 1, administration 2025, amending local law number 2, animal management 2025, and amending subordinate local law number 2, animal management 2025. So these documents were presented to council on the 25th of September this year at the local government meeting, where it was resolved that council proposed to make the proposed amending local laws an amendment subordinate local law, and to present them to the public for consultation. The proposed amendment local laws and amendment subordinate local law was released for public consultation on the 26th of September with a closing date of the 24th of October. 223 submissions were received which prompted a review of some of the proposed amendments, particularly for the desexing of dogs and cats, the proposed off-leash areas for Currimundi Beach and Bingle Bay. To delve into those amendments a bit closer, the change to the amendment for desexing of dogs and cats now includes an exception where a responsible cat or dog owner does not need to get their won't need to get their animal desexed. So if in the authorised officer's opinion the owner is a responsible owner, then they will be exempt. Examples of being a responsible owner is providing an enclosure for your animal. You don't let them wander, you don't let them attack, your dog is microchipped. Council doesn't knock on your door when for complaints of wandering or attacking or nuisance issues. So basically, if you're not on our radar, we will not come searching for you to desex your animal. If we come because your dog is a problem with wandering, straying, attacking, and they breeding indiscriminately, we will be seeking to have the animal desexed, and we will be trying our best to have that funded as well, partially or fully, we'll see. In regards to the Currimundi Beach off-leash area, we received significant opposition to that off-leash area. Therefore, we have rescinded that. We have taken that off the charts. That will not be going through, and Bowstead Park will remain. In relation to the Bingle Bay off-leash area, it will go. I've proposed that it go through. We've just reduced it by 50 metres, just to keep it away from the parking area and the picnic area at Bingle Bay. So it's the southern area of Bingle Bay. There was support for that area. So additionally, the state government departments were also informed of the proposed amendments and no objections were received. So my recommendation is that council, under its local lawmaking policy number 10727, Part B, Step 7, make the following proposed local laws and subordinate local law with amendments. Amendment Local Law number 1, Administration 2025. Amendment Local Law number 2, Animal Management 2025. Amendment Subordinate Local Law number 2, Animal Management 2025. And recommendation number 2 is that we advise the public of the making of the subordinate local law of the local law and subordinate local law in accordance with the requirements of section 29B 1 to 4 of the Local Government Act 2009.
Thank you. Councillor Littlemore.
Chair, I'd like to move the proposed resolution, and I'd like to compliment not only the staff and fellow councillors for listening to community concerns, but again, the community has provided feedback. You know, we had to chase them up a little bit, but they got the drift of it, and we got an exceptional number of submissions. Some of those submissions were for and some were against, so there's a balancing act in our community between, you know, what you can have and what we can deliver as a council. But I think the outcome that we have is a balanced outcome, especially in respect of the desexing of, you know, the compulsory desexing of animals. So I think responsible dog and cat owners will feel a sigh of relief, and very pleased with the work the staff has done. And as I said, my fellow councillors for listening to community concerns.
Absolutely. The most submissions that we've ever seen, I think, in the time I've been here, it's the biggest response that we've ever had. And so thank you to all of those out there that took the time to actually sit down and put in a submission. And all of your feedback is always a valuable resource for every single one of us around the table. So, yeah, thanks. Councillor.
Yeah, I'm happy to second as well. And I'm just supporting what you have both said, that, yeah, thank you. I know it was a very hot topic at Currimundi Beach, and I know the Mayor and myself have been contacted as well as people putting the submissions in. So I appreciate the work that the community have done and our team for responding as well. And also, yes, it was a big conversation about the desexing of animals and appreciate that we have now not restricted, but made it a more targeted area that your team now have to deal with, which I think is probably a better solution all round, because there are a lot of good people in the community that do the right thing with their dogs. So we don't want to infringe on that. Thank you.
Councillor Baines.
Thank you, Chair. I will reiterate the words of Councillor Littlemore and Councillor Chewy. These are not simple things to do. I do, again, congratulate the community on being involved in this, but people need to understand that when we write local laws, we're not writing the local laws for the reasonable and responsible people. They're generally not the people that are being targeted. So when a local law comes out like this, that can be seen as controversial. People need to consider, just because they're fair and reasonable doesn't mean everyone who lives in our community is fair and reasonable. So it's not an easy job to do, and I commend Ms. Lampert and her team on the works that they've done, and the councillors. And again, nothing stops a fair and responsible dog owner or cat owner still desexing their animals. They have every right to do that. And I do look forward to the possibility of maybe we can support this into the future. So.
Good. Councillor Littlemore, have you got something further?
Just a question, Chair. So we referred, your report, Ms. Lambert, referred to aggressive dogs, but it also refers to nuisance cats.
Yes.
So if we have complaints about nuisance cats, they may end up feeling the knife.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Chair.
That is an issue.
Absolutely.
Getting bigger, I think.
Yeah.
You like that?
Okay, so I'm going to move on a second. Are those in favour? Carried, thank you.
Give you a clap.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Thanks, Ronnie.
It's a very, very hard job.
Hand over to CEO for the next one.
I'll give us a
Please.
No clapping.
To the chair, I'm on a clap for this one. It's a fairly simple report. Councillor Renee McLeod has requested a leave of absence for the periods Thursday, 12th of February 2026
More the report.
to Sunday, 22 February 2026 inclusive. Second period of Friday, the 11th of September 2026 to Monday, 28th September 2026 inclusive. There is a recommendation there, and that is that Councillor Renee McLeod's request for leave of absence for the following periods: 12 February to Sunday, 22 February inclusive, and 11 September to 28 September 2026 inclusive be approved.
To move.
Councillor Chewy. Second by Councillor Pervin. Those in favour? Carried, thank you. Move on to planning and welcome Mr. Horton to the table, and I know your first name, but I can't say it.
Joy.
Joy? Yeah. Welcome, Joy. I knew it was good. I wanted to say your last name, but it's Joy. It's Joy.
Yeah,
Thank you.
okay. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through the chair, I present item number 7.1, which is a material change of use for a service station in Cardwell. This will be at number 210 Victoria Street, Cardwell.
Could you just speak up a little bit if it's possible? It's just a little bit difficult.
Okay.
Thank you.
So this property is located in the northeastern part of Cardwell, and it seeks a material change of use to redevelop at 3 adjoining lots on Victoria Street. To consolidate a service station, a convenience shop, and a drive-through facility. The proposal aims to deliver a fit-for-purpose refueling and retail destination along Bruce Highway. It is a redevelopment of a service station, which is an existing use, and 2 other properties, which entails a vacant lot and a residential, which will be demolished to expand the use. It provides 8 parking spots and 2 advertising devices along the Bruce Highway, and utilizes council's reticulated water and an on-site sewer. The development was an impact assessment, accessible development, which underwent referral through SARA, Department of State Development Infrastructure, Local Government, and concurrence agency conditions have been provided for this. It also underwent public notification whereby we had 0 submissions during the process. We do recommend the development to be approved as it's an already existing development in the area. The residential amenity around the proposed development will be backed up with some conditions that we've conditioned for this development, whereby we have at least 2.4 meters fencing, timber fencing around this service station, as well as asphalt sealing of the driveways.
Through the chair. This application was negotiated through the process as it went to SARA with DTMR. Some changes were made to the application during that period, especially around the accesses that into the property.
Yep.
And realigned the actual drive-through area was on the original side lot where the current United Servo is, which then got relocated at the back. So just those sweep paths and so forth. In the conditions as well, we've conditioned that the road's been asphalted up past the driveways, so 5 metres up that Richards Road, as well as that fencing. It deals with lights and so forth going through that drive-through area within there and the convenience shop. So it's another truck stop, council, New United truck stop in Cardwell. As Joy outlined, it's recommended for approval, subject to those conditions, and we're happy to answer any questions.
Councillor Jessup.
Seems to me, they seem to be doing a lot of service stations lately. What's happening with the EV area?
Through the chair, good question. Yeah, we assess them on their merits. For Cardwell, I don't know. I suppose this is probably the last one. I don't know how many more you could sort of fit into Cardwell than what's currently there with this last one. I suppose United are redeveloping a lot of their stuff. As council be aware, the August Moon one's just reopened this week. So it's been completed and finished, which is a major upgrade to the original service station that was there. So they've looked at this one and it's the same demolition of the existing servo and one of the dwellings, whether that's demoed or sold on or so forth. Someone can buy the building and maybe relocate it. They're looking to I suppose add those additional things with Pie Face and the convenient component as a one-stop shop 24 hours a day.
They must know something we don't. Councillor Baines.
Thank you, Chair. This is a great project. It's a very interesting thing to do. In answer to Councillor Jessup's question around, I know there are private developers that are working very strongly in the electric vehicle space. One would probably not expect someone who sells fossil fuels to think about where the electric vehicle stuff is going. So there are other proponents that are pushing into that space, but I think this is a really good project. It's a great redevelopment of the site. And I see a future where some of these places will be putting charging stations in at the same time, because you still want to get people going through your drive-throughs and through your little cafes. It'll end up in that space, but that's the future for us to see.
Mind you, I did hear that there's pushback on net zero by 2050, so watch this space.
Watch this space and watch right-wing media.
I don't think things are panning out quite as well as they would have liked them to.
Anyway, we do digress.
Say any more on that?
No.
Yes.
So has it been moved or seconded?
No.
Oh, happy to move.
Thank you.
Second, Chair.
Thank you.
Just on it, maybe it's the positivity of what's happening in Port Hinchinbrook and 1 Mile Creek one day up and going again. And all the boats being able to have needing the fuel to get out to Hinchinbrook Island.
Maybe.
We'll have our own oil refinery down there soon.
Also, now we've stepped over to the tourism boats who are researching hydrogen and electric motors right now. So just as an added. bonus.
Okay, moving
But we are digressing.
yes.
We
It'll be a great conversation for another day. Merry Christmas.
Seconder, those in favour? Thank you.
Thank you.
It's going bad.
I'll make it a bit
Back
interesting.
over to you guys.
Boring.
Yes.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Number 7.2, it's the planning scheme amendment, council. The Cassary Coast Planning Scheme 2015, which is that 10-year age now, took effect on the 3rd of July that year, in 2015. Under the Planning Act, council is required to review its planning schemes between probably 7 and 10 years, taking into effect and decide based on the review whether to amend or replace the planning scheme. As part of the operational plan, the council has identified an amendment to its planning scheme as a major project. As initial steps towards preparation and amended planning scheme, council officer undertook a review of that current scheme, examined its efficiencies and effectiveness. So we've done a bit of a stage. We did that stage 1 a couple of years back, just sort of pulling apart the scheme, looking at the definitions, looking at the levels of assessment and trying to change that criteria, which will add towards what we're doing now. So the feedback from internal and external users indicate that the structure of the current planning scheme, which we know was under QPP3, which was governed by the state, that we had to use that format, it's logical, but there's a lot of repetition and ambiguity between the provisions and the code. So because we put the two schemes together, we had Johnson Shire, Cardwell scheme, there was some differences in there. We had to combine it, make amendments. We had to put in local plans, all those types of things. So some of the in there talks and doubles up. So we need to strip that back and bring that back. So a more proactive approach to plan making, which provides greater specific and preferred planning outcomes and key opportunities. So we need to make sure that the scheme talks to what we want in areas and doesn't talk to what we don't want in certain areas. So, you know, if we want it and we want it in a certain area and we want that development, we need to make sure the scheme supports that and allows that. And that comes through your levels of assessment, your criteria and assessment and those times. So from start to finish, the plan making process is anticipated to take, you know, in around 2 years. We got some reports that we have to do. We got to do a needs analysis for the state on housing because their major drive is housing at the current time. They need to live so many million houses and so forth. So we need to make sure that we tick the box. I think we're there. I think with what we've got at Innisfail Estate and what we got at the beach and around Tully in the urban footprint, even a bit in Cardwell, I think we're in good stead and where we're leading to and what we've got with funding. So I think that'll be highlighted in that report. So the other components of why we've held to now and now looking to go in under that section 18 is that the regional plan's been released in draft. So we understand what that looks like now, what that overall strategic direction of that regional plan is. The last regional plan was not a very economic based regional plan. This one has more criteria around there. It's a lot more open. It doesn't have the vigor of the regulatory provisions in it. So council can now look at what it does in its planning scheme. So on top of that, the mapping council needs to be reviewed just to have a look at, you know, current changes in the environmental area. Bushfire is a real one that needs to be refined. It's a state one, but its detailed mapping is not to the grain, you know, that we should have for, especially around building works. And a lot of private certifiers and ourselves as certifiers at council rely on that mapping. So we need to look at how we refine that. Our flood mapping's funded to be redone. So that's part of that component as well, which will lead into the planning scheme as well. So council, yeah, there's a number of changes there, but the recommendation is that council resolve to amend the planning scheme under section 18 of the Planning Act and the delegate authority of the Chief Executive Officer to prepare and progress the proposed planning scheme under the Planning Act 20 16 and the minister's guidelines and rules, which set out the process in how we deal with that through public consultation and those specific things. As we outlined to council previously, we'll go out to early consultation and get some, we'll use our page and get some early comments on certain things and areas. And hopefully with the buy-in of the draft plan, and we'll see how we go with where we go with the district and how we increase the economic development in the area and drive, what we need to make this area prosperous in the future.
I have to thank you and your team, Mr. Horton, this has been an enormous body of work, as you have just pointed out in just a few pages. But look, the reviews are welcome. A welcome review, given that times are changing and housing needs are changing and land is changing. So, we look forward to it all coming together and it fits in with the regional plan. It's about time, really, been waiting a long time.
Yeah, through the
So, yeah. Councillor Baines.
Thank you, Chair. Very happy to move the recommendation. This is, and to reiterate the words, this has been a long time coming. We've been waiting for the state one for a long while, juggling the Carball and Johnson Shire schemes and coming into an accretion sort of idea was not an easy process. Again, outstanding amount of work, because the Cassowary Coast region will be a very different place in 2026. So I look forward to this. You've already mentioned that this will be going out for public comment. Can you just take us through the sort of timing of that, or is that a question for our CEO? Because this, again, community have already shown us that they like getting involved. So this, again, is something that they need to be making comment upon. So could you just take us through that process a little bit, Mr.
Through the chair, we'll go to RFQ first and the consultant that can help us work through component. As I said, we've done a first sort of preliminary cutback of the scheme and so forth, but we'll go out on your say page. Just outlining certain questions and asking the public to comment. Through that, we'll have that ready to go early next year. But then during the process, you've got set criteria under the Act and the Minister's guidelines that you've got to adhere to. So that'll be out and going to each community, holding, public days there for anyone to come in and talk to us. But we'll also have our Your Say page during that period. But the draft will have to come to council as well. For that to go out, that gets reviewed by the state, by the minister and the department on our components. That comes back for comment. We go out again. So there's considerable consultation. But look, we're happy to talk to anyone, happy to receive information along the way on what people, we have people in all the time talking to us about different things. It's not, taken just now, for this. We know there's other people wanting to do things. We know that people want to have more density on their properties. Some areas want the height lifted in certain things, other, cassowary corridors, strategic rehabilitation areas. It's not like we haven't, we don't listen to that at any time. So we're happy to meet with anyone and work with any department and, just try and get the best outcome, councillor.
So further to that, then there will be an official period, but people can make comments and be involved in this process from any time. And it's great that your team does work so closely with the community, because it's quite an interesting contact point when you're going around planning and development applications and all the different I can't even think of a word. I've lost my CEO bingo. When you think of all the complexities involved in those sort of applications, it's good. It's very good to see, and I commend yourself and the team. And great presentation.
And through the chair, it's not only us, we're the planning and development area, but, for council, there becomes a considerable amount of different areas, water and sewage. We've got to understand those components. We've got NEST team now, natural environment and sustainability team working, they look after the CHAS now, that we originally did, but they implement those components and looking at the rehabilitation areas, working on the cassowary corridors, all that. So that comes into it well. Reg service, we got local laws, so we've got to consider that component as well. How does that work with that? because you don't want to be in conflict with what you're trying to achieve out of that with what's in the planning scheme. So you need to be working with local laws and that component. So there's, and you know, we need to know our road structure.
Yeah.
Then we got our LGIP to deal with as well, which is our trunk infrastructure. What do we need in the future? Some further reservoirs. What is it in Cardwell? Is it sewer, that area? You know, those are the questions that we've got to be working with all those areas in council. So it's not just us. There's a lot of parts to the arm that needs to work together and support each other in trying to deliver what's in the economic strategy, what's in our operational plan, what's in our corporate plan moving forward. So,
And the future of the Cassowary Coast.
Yep.
Exactly at them.
Cancel a little more. Hang on. Sorry.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, happy to second the resolution. Also, just like to comment, you know, the previous item we just discussed, the confidence in Cardwell, you know, the PPD at Port Hinchinbrook, private investments going ahead leaps and bounds, Port Marillion, the studies there, potential economic development, the recognition by TMR of the Palmerston Highway as a primary transport route, which will lead straight down to the Port Marillion. We having the sewerage infrastructure at Cardwell to build on. We are on the cusp of absolutely fantastic times for keeping Cassowary Coast the most livable tropical.
Oh, my God. I was just
Well
about
done.
to.
Well done. Nice.
In this term council, we would really be laying a fantastic foundation
You will.
for the future.
Yep.
And Mr. Horton, thank you and your team for the work that you're doing. We can only go from strength to strength. And
So,
we, as we keep referring back to, that input from the community is just absolutely so valuable because everything we do is for them at the end of the day.
absolutely. Yeah.
So-
Sorry, cancel just.
Words right out of my mouth.
Do you want to sing?
Are there any further comments? Further comments? Oh, we've had a mover and a seconder. Those in favour? Very good. Back over to you again for the submission on the draft Far North Queensland Regional Plan.
thanks, Madam Mayor. As we know, the draft has been released and it's out for comment, which closes early next year. So council looked, to have this recommendation put forward in this December meeting so we can get that to the minister to put back into the draft. So the last regional plan, as I discussed, was 2009. I think the draft was 08, and then May 2009 it come into force. Very, very structured plan. One of the first in Queensland at the time after the SEQ plan. Very early adopter, which then reflects from there into our planning scheme. So the drafts come out. We appreciate what the state has done and what the state has listened to on behalf of council, especially around our existing subdivisions that were rural res subdivisions that were taken out of the rural living area and that were put in the RLRPA, which is somewhere like Unsworth Drive, Pigeon Hill, and a number of others. So the state has listened to that and put them back into the rural living area. Which has been very helpful for us because it's allowed us to use that and make some decisions around a couple of approvals using that draft regional plan as weight towards that. So we really appreciate them to listen to that. This here is to add to that and hopefully get some further components put in there. So as you can see, council, there's the attachment which goes to the Deputy Premier, who is the Minister for Planning, thanking them, as well as looking to put in a few aspects around the Innisfail, Tully and Cardwell, Mission Beach and rural township areas, just some, more foundation around that with some change to mapping. So we've got the pages there, page 12. We want to talk about renewable energy. We got the hydro power station, Korea, we want that. Up at Cardston, we want that acknowledged. We also want the Tully Mill and the mills acknowledged for that, for their use, in that power space. The other one is around the removal of gas. On page 16, they said they had a gas component to our area. We don't have gas. So that's to be removed. In the page 20, we've got key centres. So we're going to add Mission Beach, includes Wongaling, South Mission and Bingle Bay into that Mission Beach component and Cardwell as their major population service centres for this area. Page 20, other communities include remove Bingle Bay, Cardwell, Mission Beach, and those they go into the other component. But the new list should include Curramine, Alari, Silkwood, and those types of townships. Those village townships in there. Page 20, we got that key component initiatives and revitalising town centre. So we want to put Port Hinchinbrook in there because we want that to be revitalised and changed as part of that announcement. So we want some there. The NEST team with Michael and them have given us some components around the environmental features. We want blurbs in there around where we do our rainforest meets the coastline and those types of things. So they've put that in Douglas, but haven't put it in our area. So we want to highlight that and that natural landscape. So the team's given us some information around that. And then page 110 around the environment and carbon offsets component as well is being put in there. And page 121 has component around there, around trail, nature-based coastal protections and so forth. Around mangrove rehabilitation, and the works that we're doing in there. So the component to it is also the mapping council, a bit of an extension at Curramine, Eddy Bay within the existing area of Eddy Bay. There's a couple of parcels still zone rural in there, really are a conflict to a surrounding rural res subdivision, which has been like that since the 80s. So there's a couple of parcels there. Silkwood, a little bit to add there, a little bit around Faluga, South Innisfail, where we had an application back in 2008, which was approved at the time. It was around big box development and residential. So there's a bit there at South Innisfail around that. Mundu's the same, just a little bit around that township. Eubanangie and Maryburn. So those two there, Eubanangie and Maryburn, they actually had a couple of extra stages that needed completion there, but because of the change in the regional plan and way it was reflected in the scheme in the RLRPA, they never got completed. So you'll see in those two and in the pictures around that, they got stub roads. They don't even have cul-de-sacs or anything like that. So it's just trying to get that in to finish it off. So council, that with that, as I said, the state's pretty much acknowledged what we've provided to them. We're happy with where we're at, and as advised by the council previously, a little more around the highlight of the ports and investigation area in that document, the East-West Link and the Palmerston, so they're in there as well as the Silica Sand projects and that type of component are in there. And moving forward. So look, the recommendations there to endorse the submission and authorise the Chief Executive Officer to finalise and lodge the submission with the Queensland Government, incorporating any minor amendments arising from the council meeting, and request continued engagement with the state to ensure local issues are incorporated in the final regional plan. So I'm happy to answer any questions, council.
Just more a comment, but it's really positive to see that the government's giving us the opportunity to have so much input and to see that they're actually listening to the input and making the changes that each individual council needs for their area, because we all know that every area is different and has their different needs and wants, and so it's really good that there's not just a blanket thrown over the top and I'm saying here it is, see you later. So
Definitely, Madam Mayor, because it is different. Tablelands is different to the coast.
Absolutely.
Tablelands doesn't have the coastal issues that we deal with seawalls and beach replenishment and all those types of aspects. They have different components on the top. One of those major issues for them is more the Gillies Range and the Caranda Range and getting their people that live up the tablelands to Cairns.
That's right.
Other aspects for us is flooding and stormwater and all those, extra roads that we've got to complete every year in the wet season. We've got a lot of aspects that we deal with that are totally different to Mareeba or Tablelands or Etheridge or, and even, talking with Douglas and those, they got different
Yeah,
issues as well
absolutely.
to what
Yeah.
we've got,
Yeah.
even though they are on the coast.
Yeah.
They deal with a lot of different aspects that we don't deal with.
They do.
And as we know, Cairns is the regional centre for us. But for Cairns to be going well, we all need to be going well, and they need to understand that if Cassowary Coast, Tablelands, Mareeba, Port Douglas, even the Western Shires, if they're going well, Cairns goes well.
Yeah.
So, and everyone gets benefit out of it overall within the region. So,
I'm surrounded.
well, the roads cross boundaries, through the chair. So you need to be supporting each other and what you're trying to get, and the Palmerston goes up the top and goes west. So we need to be on board together to push what we
Make it all
need.
happen.
Yeah.
That's right. Councillor Pervin.
I'll move the recommendation. Just a quick question. You refer to minor amendments in the recommendation. Is that things in relation to mapping, just general stuff like that? Would that be correct?
Through the chair, I think the recommendation confirms that, any minor amendments like that arising from the meeting. So if there was anything today that councillors thought had been missed out of that, then absolutely we could, with that, once that becomes a resolution, we could add that into the submission that goes through.
Okay, no worries at all.
Very good.
Were there any amendments that anyone wanted to raise or any?
You mean additional to the ones that are sitting?
Yeah.
Not in my mind. I think it's been covered really well.
I might just have one area in particular, just around Wangan area. Just some future land there that's adjoining an existing rural residential subdivision that's in the Gryman Road precinct that possibly looked at, be added in at some stage.
Through the chair, I think we can look at that and
Yeah.
make an amendment. Yeah.
Councillor Littlemore.
Chair, just talking about the positivity at Cardwell. I know, Mr. Horton, you mentioned before that the possibility of future subdivision in Cardwell, is that something we need to look at in the regional plan? Is that something you might turn your mind to as well?
Through the chair, there's a number of aspects in Cardwell which we need to consider, and that's really the Western Corridor. There's a fair bit of work involved in that. The regional plan our current planning scheme reflects the Western Corridor, but as we know, that area is under lease, and forestry. The timber plantations on there, so there's a lot of work to be done, and that comes more with our planning scheme amendment and what we need to do there with talking with Minister and so forth, and how that land, I suppose, comes out of lease and may offer the opportunity to head west into that higher country. Because as we know, in some areas we've got mahogany glider, to the north we've got constraints there, to the south we got constraints. There's a few little areas probably around Stony Creek. There's a couple of areas, Kennedy can probably be looked at a little bit as well. Some of the areas, especially around Ellerbeck and a few of those areas, there's a lot of flooding issues there that some of that land shouldn't have been. There's past decisions you live with and you work with, but we just need to sit down. We'll work through each part. We'll work through with council, Cardwell, and then we'll head to maybe Mission Beach next, and then Tully, and then Innisfail. We work through each area and work out what we need to do. So but today the draft, so we can get those submissions in and we'll work through that, and keep working with the state on until the final's released.
Do you want to second that?
Please.
Because there again, every little community we've got within our region is different as well and has their own little challenges. So it's good. Thank you.
Yeah, through the chair, it definitely does. You got to consider. We've got to look at our village areas because we've got schools there, which we need to understand from Education Queensland. Are they going to stay there or are they not?
Yeah.
But if they are going to stay there, we got shops there, we got butchers there. How does that little community survive moving forward?
Yeah.
So we need to consider what we do, and that's with a bit of development around those spokes. So.
Well, I look forward to all those conversations because it's a pretty exciting space to be in.
Yes.
Sorry,
So I
Councillor
just want to make another comment. So when things like this go out to the have your say, It's important because it helps in all of this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It's your opportunity.
Yeah, people have your say.
Yeah, definitely get on board and look, and as I've said many a times, people really don't comment on anything in this area a lot until it affects their property.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Or they're on
They
Facebook.
want to do something at their property, but they really don't understand what's with the property, and they come in and sit down with you and you go, well, this is where it is, that's what it's zoned, this is what you have to do, and this is the process. This is my land, why can't I do anything about it? Why can't I just go and build what I want? Well, the structure is, this is what, like, and that's why. If you understand what your property is doing and where it's zoned and what it's doing, you need to think about what you want to do in the future. And then we can consider that moving forward, and put in comments and, of value. I see some comments that aren't got, if we're going to do this properly, put in decent comments and submissions that are of value to the whole region and community. And that's what we'll be looking for from various groups and the public and individual owners themselves.
Good. Okay, well, those in favour? Aaron, thank you very much. We're just going to go to a break for a few minutes now. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, council. Thanks for your support.
thank you for your patience. Welcome back, and we'll move on to general business. Anybody got Councillor Chewy?
Thank you, and I thank you everybody for your patience. I do have general business. Just reminding everybody that Australia Day Awards nomination time has been extended. We would love to see more nominations in the various categories. As I keep saying, it's everybody, great to recognise our people that step up for our community and a great event you might have attended. So thank you for that. I would also like to acknowledge the passing of Mr. Don Wheatley. Don was a pioneer of Mission Beach. He gave a lot to his community. He was I think a lifetime member of Mission Beach, a fountain of knowledge about the history of Mission Beach. So with his family's blessing, I would like to pass on our condolences and my condolences to his family, and he will be missed in our town, that's for certain. Just like to ask Mr. Goodman to come to the table, if I may, please. Thank you, Mr. Goodman. At the last meeting, Mr. Goodman, I had questions regarding the maintenance or the capacity of maintenance at Perry Harvey Jetty, which is now a fishing platform. The stairs that were going down where people used to climb onto boats has been a popular place for people to use for fishing. That has now been closed off. Could you just give an outline as to what is happening there, and should it ever be replaced, the procedures that council have to adhere to replace that facility, if that part of the facility, should it come to that? Thank you.
Thank you. Through the chair, Councillor Tui, happy to provide an update. One of the things that we have been considering is the repair methodology. If council was to go ahead and fund those repairs, and it's important to know that there is an obvious defect with those stairs, with the fibre reinforced grading missing off the lower platform. That's actually an issue that council officers have dealt with a number of times in the past, and is a relatively inexpensive and easy thing to fix. The issue that is causing significantly more concern is the structural deterioration of the steel members of the stairs themselves, and that is not at the bottom of the stairs. That's right at the top of the stairs. The construction or the design was a design and construct contract that project, and the design and the construction has those steel support members for those stairs and platforms as one continuous steel member. And repair methodology of trying to deal with that in situ is very difficult. And even if it can be done, but then the ability to try and get any decent durability out of that repair is significantly compromised. So if there's to be a repair that's undertaken, it will require the complete removal of those stair structures and refabrication repairs being undertaken off-site and then reinstatement. That sort of project is outside of the scope of what we can manage in the current budget. And so we can certainly bring that back to council with options for renewal in the future. If council was going to renew, haven't got to this level of detail, but I would suggest that we would be going with a modified design that would allow segments to be removed in the future without requiring the complete removal of the stairs. Those stairs all of the stairs are not safe at the moment, and that is why we have those fenced off. So excluded access to those stairs. So it's not just the fibre reinforced grate at the bottom; it is the steel members that support.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we just had community reach out asking, that the stairs be considered to be opened for fishing, but obviously that is not safe, and we can't risk our community, especially the children that are on that use it the most. If something were to happen, then obviously that would not be a great thing. So I appreciate your response. Thank you. Do you have anything more, Councillor Perth?
No, that was my general business, Councillor Chewy. So thank you.
Sorry. Okay. And just finally, I just would like to take the opportunity to wish everybody in this room, our council staff and officers and our community a very merry and safe Christmas. Please remember that for emergencies, the number to ring is 1300 763 903. And if it's an emergency, someone will be able to assist you. Have a great Christmas, travel safe and be kind to each other. Thank you.
Councillor Baines, did you have your hand up or were you just waving your pen around?
I was going to ask a question around the previous, but Mr. Goodman's left the table and I can ask it out of office. So no issues there.
I've just got a couple of reminders.
Oh, no.
Just a reminder that water restrictions are still in place, so please be mindful with your usage. And the exact details on what days you can and can't water are on our website, but make sure you stay hydrated at the same time. It's also that time of year we need to be prepared, so I urge you all to be vigilant in tidying up around your home. Make sure you have a plan in case you have to evacuate. Make sure you have those things that you need, such as batteries, torches, water, medications, important documents.
Cash.
Cash, yes, cash, because you can't go to the ATM. That's right, very good. And I too would also like to wish everybody a happy and safe Christmas that brings you all love and happiness and a Merry Christmas. Councillor Jessup.
Yes, thank you. I'd just like to remind people, especially of Tully and the surrounds, that the street party is on the 18th of December, which is a Thursday night. So get out there, enjoy the evening and have some fun. I'd just like to ask the CEO if we have a date on when the new recycling cages, the bins that the cages will bins and containers will be added. Do we have a date?
Okay.
The team has got, the bins are with the team at the moment. The team's just tracking down the hardware at the moment. I did get an update from today that we've got one going out to Flying Fish Point, 2 to Eddy Bay, 8 in Innisfail CBD, 1 in Alarish, 1 in Silkwood, 8 for the Greater Mission Beach area, 8 in Tully, 2 for Tully Heads and Hull Heads, 1 for Cowley, 4 for Carville and 2 for Curramine. So it's just the fixings to go onto our bin housings and the team will be rolling those out ASAP.
That will be wonderful. Thank you.
Sorry, so just on that note, those cages that are on the side of the bins, they are to put cans and bottles in, but people can come and take those cans and bottles.
Yes, they can.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I just wanted to put that out there because, you can come and take them and
You
go
can
and
take them
cash them in.
and cash them in.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
And just cans and bottles, we probably should reiterate too. and fill it with dirty nappies and.
Anything that's, sorry, through the chair, anything that's got a 10-cent sticker on it.
But other than that, I just would like to have a business message. On a personal note, there will be 2 empty chairs at our table this Christmas, 2 dearly loved faces that we long to see, and 2 places etched in our heart forever. They will be missing. And I know many others are also feeling some quite sadness this year, or quiet sadness. Please know my thoughts and condolences are also with you. May this Christmas bring moments of peace where grief sits. And may the new year bring the energy for healing. And in recognition of these life changes, I do hope you still have a wonderful Christmas. I'd like to see you all again in 2026. And in the words of Father Gary, as he spoke earlier today, joy to the world.
Well done.
But is there any further general business? Oh,
Thank you, Chair. I would again like to reiterate the sentiments around the table. However you celebrate this break and this festive season, please have the greatest of times. Enjoy yourselves within moderation, and enjoy time with your family and your friends. So however you choose to celebrate.
thank you. So we now move into closed session. The meeting will now be closed to the public in accordance with Local Government Act sections 254J 13G, negotiations relating to a commercial matter involving the local government for which a public decision would be likely to prejudice the interests of the local government. To consider the following report, Contract FNQ 56, Regional Collection and Removal of Ferrous Metals, Non-Ferrous Metals and used lead acid batteries. No, I have a mover and a seconder. Councillor McLeod and Councillor Jessup, thank you. Those in favour? Carried, thank you. We'd like to wish you again all a happy and safe Christmas and see you in 2026.
Thank you.